Well, look who's back again for another episode of East Got Game, where we give you the X's, the O's, and the insights of NBL1 East 2026. Even though it's officially wrapped up, we've still got more to share. I'm Jacinta, that's Lockie, and how the bloody hell are you, mate?
Still tired. Still bloody tired after the weekend.
Still tired. What did you do after I left you there?
Watched the men's game, or the second half of the men's game. Got some Guzman with Caleb and Damien and Louis, and went home. And then I think I relaxed on Monday, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it.
Goodness me, your Monday is already come and gone, giving out. Apparently, it's Tuesday. But that sounds like a hell of a way to spend grand final day. I had to dash off at halftime of the men's game, unfortunately, with regrets in my heart that I had to leave, because I would have loved to have joined you at GYG with the lads.
Oh, it was good. It was good. Good times. Good. You know, the post game drives with the guys. Always good fun.
Yeah, sometimes they're the things that you remember from grand final days and not necessarily who won by what margin. I mean, we'll remember who won, but not necessarily what margin.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, maybe you do. But yeah, I mean, NBL1 East 2026 is done. The grand final series, it all kicked off at GYG Stadium on the New South Wales Central Coast. They did a fantastic job hosting the finals this weekend. Just really put on a show. Lots of space for a lot of the spectators and supporters making the journey for the day. And it was packed. It was absolutely packed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot bigger than I was expecting, Lockie.
Yeah, well, I think Caleb said to us that Central Coast holds more than Penrith. I think because it's got the bleachers rather than the individual seats, you really cram people in there. And the men's game actually sold out in the end.
Yeah, that's a fantastic result for that to sell out. Yeah, it was heaving, the venue, and we were very lucky again to be selected to commentate the women's grand final as East Got Game. So another big thank you to Basketball New South Wales and everyone involved in NBL1 East, particularly with the support of the GOAT, the greatest of all time, no one better, Caleb Fogarty, for putting our names forward to be selected. It's always an honor to be selected for a grand final, and it's never an expectation from where I stand.
Hey, I expect to not get selected most years, to be honest, and it always.
Listen, Lockie, and this is no shade, but you know me, I got to call a spade, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. But we crushed that. We crushed that game.
Yeah, we did, and it was such a good game. It was a really at 47-28 midway through the second quarter. I was like, oh, but it ended up being an absolute ripper.
Thoroughly entertaining. We'll get into the game a little bit more. We're going to have a very special guest join us in about 10 minutes' time to help us dissect the game that was between the Bankstown Bruins and the Manly Warringah Seagulls in the women's grand final. But we've actually got some great news to share. Just as the season has ended, some clubs are already focused on the 2027 season. Tell us about the announcements that were shared today online, Lockie.
Well, we've already got 2 new head coaches announced. So Inner West Women have a new head coach, Danny Kordahi, who's been very much involved with the club. That's a very familiar name to anyone who watches men's Waratah and NBL1 East. And yeah, he's, after being heavily involved in their youth league program and junior men, he's taking over the women's NBL1 East program. And I think Inner West, they're actually got a construction commencement date sometime next year for their new facility in Eastwood. So things are on the up for the Bulls. And then Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Spiders men, Danny Kim, he's back.
He's back. I'm so excited that Danny Kim is back. And he is just going to be coming at the right time for the Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Spiders men's program, who, again, another club that's just been going strength to strength to strength in both their men's and women's program, especially considering they missed the inaugural NBL1 East season in 2022. Like, this is fantastic news for the club.
Oh, huge. He's been, like, he was assistant coach in the West. He went overseas. He's been killing it over in Asia. To have him back in NBL1 is a massive boon for the team and the league.
Yeah, so if Shaq Shora returns as the women's head coach for Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Spiders, and you got Danny Kim as the men's coach, I mean, I think that's going to attract some people. Maybe we might see some club movement.
Yeah. So it's a big call.
Player movement. Player movement,
yeah.
I should say.
Yeah. Big call, but I mean, could very well happen. He's a very well respected man. They both are.
Yeah, they certainly both are. I mean, we know what Shaq can do now. Again, just unlucky not to be nominated for Coach of the Year this year, given how far he was able to take the Spiders women's program. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that attracts some player movement. I'm sure that Danny Kim is going to be able to use his now expanded network in the basketball landscape to attract some great imports, perhaps, or even just attract some local talent coming out of college. Like, opportunities are endless.
100% are. And there was a third announcement that's just been released, Squin.
Oh, yeah?
NBL1 Nationals commentators have been announced.
They sure have. They sure have.
And representing the East this year will be Caleb Fogarty and Squin.
Well, I mean, can I say that I represent the East, even though I did obviously just do the women's final, and I covered the Life Members round for the Crusaders back in round 12, I think it was. Or can I say representing North? Because I know I'm by conference. I'm bilingual in conferences.
You are. You can represent whichever conferences you want, for you are Jacinta Govan.
Thank you very much, mate. I'm very excited to be heading to Adelaide this week. And thanks to the shout outs as well on the Instagram live to Hamish, from Hamish and Caleb as well. Caleb saying I can count as East as well as North. So if he approves it, then no one can really argue with that. But yeah, super excited to be heading to Adelaide on Friday for NBL1 Nationals, which we can talk about the draw as well at the end of the show. It will be my 4th time at Nationals out of the 5 possible tournaments, which is also an honor to be selected again. Like I said, these things are always an honor to be selected. It's never an expectation. None of this is ever a guarantee. So it's always very nice to be selected. And yeah, thanks to Damien as well, sending his congrats on the Instagram live. That just means I get one more opportunity to get in the go to the Gunners boys, sit in sideline. I wonder if I should take my Tui jersey for when I'm off duty, just to sit on the sideline and support them. But I think I might need to start. I might have to borrow your Bankstown Bruins jersey.
How many? Which one? I've got 3.
Take your pick. I'll take any recommendation.
And actually, I mean, I got the number 11 out. I won't turn it around. We can call it a Shiloh Hill number 11 for tonight.
Because who is it normally?
Georgia Nowak.
Oh, okay. Deep cut. We like that. We like that. And the North jersey you have in the background as well tonight.
Yeah, I've got to rep the champions.
Yeah.
I don't think the North men do they even have a number 5 on the roster? I don't think they do. That's a Rebecca Donnelly number 5. But there we go. Champions represent.
Might have to quickly look that up, unless there was someone that didn't unfortunately hit the court on the weekend.
Yeah, there was no number 5 at the grand final. I don't know if they had one throughout the season, but there we go. Champs represent.
That's right. It's still the champions at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting to see who also gets to suit up on the weekend. Damien saying as well in the Instagram live that Lockyer has every team.
I only have 7, Damien. We talked about this on the weekend. I only have 7 NBL1 East clubs jerseys.
So far. Do you need a crew one?
I do need a crew one.
Okay. Good to know. I'm going to try and store that in the important part of my brain for next time. All right. Well, that was the news of the round, which is great. 2027 season is already on the forefront of a lot of people's mind, despite the 2026 season finishing literally 48 hours ago. But let's get stuck into this women's grand final game between Bankstown Bruins and Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. We're going to bring on a special guest to give us their perspective as well. A massive fan of women's basketball. She is the original basketball diva herself. Her name is Jem Hudson. Hello, Jem. Thanks for joining us on EGG tonight.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's so good to be here.
Absolutely. Now, like in the most diplomatic way I can say this, you're relatively new to the NBL1 East community. So for those that don't know you, give us a little bit of a spiel about yourself and how you found yourself in your current role at the Comets.
Yeah, so I started getting really into women's basketball last year through the WNBA. And so I started making some TikTok videos about it. And I kind of just continued. And then I got really excited about Australian women's basketball and the WNBL. And earlier this year, the Comets put out a call on their Instagram saying we're looking for more commentators. And I thought, how different can talking on a mic be to talking on TikTok? And that's how I kind of made my way over to Comets in the NBL1 East.
And found your way in the seat next to the voice of the NBL1 East himself, Lockie France. So
voice of the
you've been you're lucky to find yourself in like one of the best possible mentors in commentating as well. Have you found a lot of similarities and differences between making content and having to commentate a live game?
I think that obviously the live aspect is something that's very different. I come from like a debating, public speaking and theatre background. So that was something that was not as intimidating to me as I imagine it could be for people without a kind of background in performance experience. I think one of the toughest parts about commentating is how you mesh with the person you're working with. Obviously, I'm very lucky to have mostly commentated with Lockie, but being able to figure out what are the habits of the person you're working with, when is a good time to jump in, how do I make sure that I have something genuinely valuable to say every time I'm jumping in? Those are the things that are kind of the most different. And obviously the thing that I've kind of admired the most about the people that I've commentated with, so Lockie, Will, and Matt McQuaid, is just like the level of knowledge that people have. Like whenever I tell anyone about commentary, I'm like, the guy with Lockie, he can tell you everything. He can tell you a player's junior club, if they went overseas, every single place they've ever played at. And I think that that kind of knowledge base is so valuable to commentators, and that's something that I'm kind of working on building.
That is a fantastic answer. Already showcasing why you are a budding commentator with how succinct you were with your answer. And I didn't realize you got to commentate with Matt McQuaid as well. So you've already been commentating with two really high caliber play-by-play commentators, not just in the East, but in the country.
Yeah, Matt needed an extra commentator one round and I was like, I'll do it. So that was very exciting.
Awesome. And the only other piece of advice I'd give you is when you're working with people like Matt and Lockie who do know a lot of things, don't try to match them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You will just end up going down a rabbit hole. That has no end. And just bring what you can bring. And obviously respect what they can bring and just sit there and admire it. Because I'm like, I don't think I'd ever be able to keep up. I'm always learning something new from Lockie.
But in the same vein, I could never match Squin's ability to see things on court as they happen, which is, I think, why we work so well together on the weekend, because I wasn't going to try and match Squin for basketball, in-depth knowledge of what's going on court, because I know Squin's got it covered because, Squin, you played at the highest level in Australia, so
It was a long time ago. Now I'm just reliving those days in any social comp that I can on a weeknight. So it all still counts. But are you enjoying it, Jem? Like, are you keen already for
Yeah.
2027?
Oh, I'm so excited. I think the thing that I really liked the most about the NBL1 is like every game, I feel like I'm discovering something. Like, I feel like being able to see the new up and coming talent and also to see players that I haven't gotten to see play before is so exciting. Like, I went home, I'm from Canberra, and I went home one weekend to watch the COE versus Nationals game. And I remember picking up my phone and sending Lockie a message being like, I am singing the gospel of Katie Jones or something like that. And then she just signed a contract with the Capitals. And so it's like that, seeing that kind of thing is very exciting. And I feel like that's partially what's so great about like the NBL1 is feeling like you're discovering new players and being able to see them succeed in that whole journey, I think has been my favorite part.
She gets it.
Yeah.
She gets it, Lockie. She gets it.
Look, we're not going to lie. There is something fun about being able to say, I knew them first.
Yeah.
And I think Lockie and I have often, over the 4 years that we've done this podcast, have had these really weird, proud parent moments. And neither of us are parents, and obviously sometimes don't know the athletes, of when you see someone, say, at COE, and then see or even, for Lockie and watching them at under 18s or youth league and see their career progress so far. I mean, someone like even Sataya Fagan. I remember her debut season with COE, and there was literally a clip where she had slipped and done the splits like Bambi, and give her 12 months later and she's off playing for the Opals. Do you know what I mean? Like, just things like that is the things that, you really remember, and this makes the whole kind of commentary gig pretty fun too.
Yeah.
But on Instagram Live, we've got Dixie saying, more women behind the mic. Keep up the great work. Love the energy. Love the positivity, and always the support, Dixie, as well. Always good to see you on the weekend. Someone who's always in our corner. So love that you're tuning in. But shall we get stuck into this grand final game?
Yes,
let's do it.
All right. So I feel like I've been yabbering on quite a bit. So obviously Lockie and I were already there. Jem, were you watching live from home?
So I got caught the second half live, and then I went back to watch the first half. And I think it was really interesting, like the way the first half of the game really informed the second half. So I've seen it all now.
Well, yeah, tell us more about that. What helped you come to that conclusion of how some of the things in the first half then? Well, I guess start by telling us what you saw in the first half.
I think the thing that to me was the most notable and kind of made me zoom out and go, the shape of the whole game kind of impacted each other, was fouls. Like, I think a lot of the time players picked up a lot of early fouls, and it was almost like in some ways the foul trouble of players dictated who was on the floor a bit more in some ways than like coaching could, because players had picked up a lot of fouls early. And I think that when you think about basketball in particular, it's a game where momentum is very important. Like, the basketball is a game of runs thing. And I think that in this particular game, it's almost like the momentum that Bankstown picked up in the first quarter essentially allowed them to win it all, because that momentum got them so far ahead that even when Manly goes on a really good run through that second half, they're still able to stay above it all. I think like the way that Kiana Davis-White pulls out it for them in the first quarter, to me, I'm still thinking about that at the end of the game as being something that sets the tone so early and then allows them to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And when the point that you made as well about how some of those early fouls really impacted key players early in the game, Davis-White was also impacted with foul trouble. Like, you're right, she did set the tone for that game, particularly for Bankstown. I think even the first play out, me and Lockie were like, oh, it's on. Like, she is out there to win. Bankstown are really focused in here, definitely to win. And then she was off for a long period of time, and then she was able to keep that momentum, and she got that block off Delaney's three, and then went out and got the transition layup. And side note, Rob Shott's got a perfect photo of that block as well. But I think those points that you made with the fouls and the momentum and setting the tone is really, really sound. Lockie, did you have anything to add?
I mean, we could talk about Kiana Davis-White all evening, but when she came back, she had that block. She also had those 2 tips on consecutive possessions as well. So didn't matter when she was coming back into the game. She was just locked in as soon as she stepped onto the court. But, I mean, you couldn't have said it better, Jem. I mean, it was 47-28 at one point. It's so tough to come back from a margin like that. But, I mean, 22 free throws in the first 7 minutes. The fact that either team was able to actually build any kind of run, I think was even more impressive by Bankstown, because the fact that it was stop-start, even though Manly got more of those free throws, just the fact that it was stop-start makes it hard to really develop any kind of rhythm throughout the game. So I think that was probably one of the most impressive things, was that Bankstown were able to put together a run or multiple runs, because I think their biggest scoring run was only 9 points. So in the first half anyway. So they were putting together little runs. Maybe Manly get a stop. Manly get a basket, but then Bankstown to get 2 or 3. So it wasn't so much that they were able to just put the foot down and blow them out of the water, but they were able to just push ahead, snowball effect almost, and get out to a big lead.
Yeah, and I think the snowball thing the snowball thing is right. That's why when I watched back the first half, I was like, that snowball thing is why that first quarter becomes so important. And I think like the idea of going on little runs also is like, that's when you get the doing things possession by possession. I think because Bankstown had that attitude, being disrupted by fouls became less of a problem, because they're like, we'll just do it every single time, regardless of what the kind of vibe is.
Yeah, Bankstown just really didn't seem perturbed by anything in this game. They like we said, they set the tone very early in the game. Whoever subbed on at whatever point of the game, it was almost like they were just as focused as they were in the warm-up. I mean, we saw Rachel Dunlop come on and hit 2 threes in the first quarter. Then she's hitting threes again in the stretch of the game, which power move by Coach Curtin. She took Davida Dale off in the last 5 minutes of the game, which, given that she's an import and a previous Defensive Player of the Year in the league, that's a big call. And she's put Rachel Dunlop on. And we initially were like, that's an interesting move. But in terms of just being able to have that even another scoring option for the stretch of the game, and as soon as she was subbed on, Rachel Dunlop had the runner. And then she went on to make a 3. But even her sister Jane only had very limited minutes. But as soon as she was on, she scored a bucket. The focus of this team was like incredible.
Yeah, and interestingly, both Kayla Proctor and Rachel Dunlop ended up playing more minutes than Davida Dale. So Davida played 19 and a half, and Kayla and Rachel both cracked the 20-minute mark. Rachel actually played almost 24 minutes. So, I mean, I think. Sorry.
Well, I think to me that kind of is what I was thinking during the first quarter, which is that they feed the hot hand, right? Like, they're not thinking necessarily about like, oh, who's meant to be the best scorer on the team, or who's meant to be this, that, or the other. I think what the coach is able to recognize is who on this team right now is having a really great night, and how do we capitalize off that as well. I think like that's particularly evident in that first quarter, where Davis-White has this crazy amazing scoring run. She had like 7 of their first 11 points or something like that. And so I think that the willingness to take off a starter and maybe sub in some of your bench players more is also a recognition of that.
And I think that's something throughout the league that a lot of coaches could learn from, because we talk about it week after week, Squint. We're like, certain, I'm not going to name players or coaches now, but we talk about this player. Why did they only get 12 minutes, 15 minutes. They're 5 or 6 from the field. And then you look at the starter that they brought on and they go 3 of 11 and we're like, why did you not just run with the person who's balling out and keeping you in the game? And I mean, Lauren Curtin, she absolutely loves this program. She's talked for a long time about the balance of the big names supported by the Bankstown babies.
The babies.
That's you got to trademark that one, Lauren. But it is. It's 4 starters: Talia, Shyla, Margot DeFreitas, Davida Dale, and then 5th starter is a Bankstown junior, and then your entire bench just about is Bankstown juniors as well. Rachel Dunlop, Jane Dunlop, Kayla Proctor, Lily Austin, all Bankstown juniors. So, and Lauren Kern's just great at recognizing who should be on court when, and she did it brilliantly throughout the game, even when players did get in a bit of foul trouble. But on that point, I want to make special mention. Shyla Heel had 3 fouls very early in this game. We mentioned it on the call.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't foul again in the entire game.
Mm.
It's one of the reasons she was in the mix with Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
I think
totally.
defending without fouling is like such an underrated skill. Because it's like about the discipline you have and the control of your body that you have. And I think that we're used to, our top defenders often picking up a lot of fouls because of the intensity that they're playing with. But being able to go, I have 3 fouls, this is a problem. And to not drop your intensity is like a really significant skill that I think needs to be kind of recognized and rewarded more.
Oh, totally. And it's also kind of showcases how it's that attitude of like, I'm on 3 fouls. This is a problem. Like if for the whole team, not just for me, I need to stay in this game and perform my best to make sure my team wins. I need to be as disciplined as I possibly could, just as you said. That's really putting everyone ahead of you. But yeah, I have to say, like, I know that Shyla over the years has copped a lot of varying criticisms for her style of play, if she's in Opals, if not. And I said this on the call too, but this has definitely been my favorite season watching her play. So much more maturity. She's still able to be a prolific scorer, get all the shots that she creates for herself, but she's still creating a lot for others. Like she was still in the top 5 of the league for assists. But sometimes those league stats, you only have to play 5 games, so it's a bit whatever. But still in the top 5 for the league in assists. And she's still, again, in the mix of Defensive Player of the Year. She's just sharing the ball more. She's making better decisions offensively. She doesn't play with that sense of, I have to carry this team on my back and do everything. She just seemed to play with so much more ease and trust in everyone else. And I think when someone like Shyla and even Talia Tupai, who have that experience and that leadership, when they're actually doing those things and showing trust in the bench, that's going to be such a great lesson for the bench in return. But I got to talk about you go last.
I was going to say, and it frees up the rest of the team. There's a lot of players here between Talia, Shyla, and Margot. They could all be seen in this league as being good enough to be dominant, and in other teams have to carry the team. And they all look like they play with freedom. I mean, Talia last year was basically one of 2 on that Inner West roster. Shyla, probably not so much at Comets. She was there alongside Davida, and they had Piper Anderson at the time. So it's had a bit more scoring, but probably she was still doing a lot. Did Shyla have 50 in an overtime loss for Comets against Canberra? I think she got to 50 in that game and they lost in overtime. So it shows you how much she was doing that season. But I think, Shyla and Talia together, it's unbelievable this is the first season they've ever played together. I can't believe they haven't crossed paths at some point, considering how much Shyla played for the Flames and Talia was at the Flames for forever, but just off by one season. But yeah, Talia, don't let the field goal percentage fool you, because just go look at the free throws.
Perfect 19 from the free throw line in this game. And I will say on the record, so I can claim it in case someone posts this later, I'm pretty confident that that is the most number of free throws made in an NBL1 Women's Grand Final ever. I've been trying to go through all of the grand finals in the last couple of years for all the conferences, and nothing has come close so far. The closest that I've seen so far is Steph Reed in 2022 for Townsville, where she had 10 from 10.
I mean, 19 of 19 would be up there for free throws in any game, I'd say, let alone the grand final. And especially, she went 8 free throws, then an and one, and then the rest. So even when she got a shot from the field, she still got free throws after it as well.
Yes, I mean, that's why they keep saying that free throws win games, right? 19. And you look at the stat line, wow, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal. And then you would expect someone to be having a high shooting game. Nah, just going to earn it from the stripe.
But look at the team free throws. 24 of 26 plays 25 of 28.
That's what I like to see.
Special right there.
That's what I like to see. I'm always critical about free throw percentages, and that was probably one of my quiet highlights of the game, how well both teams shot at the line. But it also kind of reminds me of the point we made on the call too. Manly, why aren't you getting to the line more? They had that early run of getting to the free throw line, shooting such a high clip. Their three-pointers weren't dropping, which is uncharacteristic for them. But I think throughout this particular season, their three-point percentage wasn't as good as we've seen in previous seasons. But they were staying in the game by getting points from the free throw line, and then they just went away from it.
Yeah, they had it was 13 free throws in the first 7 minutes. I didn't note down what it was after a quarter, but 13 in 7 minutes, and then 15 for the rest of the game, with Bankstown in foul trouble.
Yeah, and I think particularly when there's foul trouble, that's usually when you should go, okay, it is now in our best interest to get to the line more, even more than we were already trying to. So I think that's maybe that's a big credit to Bankstown's defense for kind of pushing people out of the paint or deterring Manly from even trying to make that push.
But yeah, I think Manly were just settling for too many threes, settling for threes. As a team, they were 10 from 35. And like, I know they say shooters have got to shoot, but at what point do you think, actually, I'm scoring everything from the free throw line, I'm not getting anything from the arc, maybe I should just trade one for the other?
I mean, it got to the point. Sorry, Jem, go.
I think that the kind of the shoot thing is such a hard thing to balance. Like every level of basketball I watch, like all the way from like NBL1 all the way to the WNBA, it always seems to be a conundrum. Like when your shooter is having an off night, how do you adjust? How do you make sure you're not shooting yourself out of game? And I think that at least in this game, something that I really noted was like Zoe Miller wasn't having like her best shooting night, but I think what she does is she goes to the other end and starts making plays on defense. And I think that part of that is part of what makes the game so close in the end, is the fact that when a player is able to go, oh, okay, like the shooting is not shooting, for every possession I'm, maybe taking us down a possession, I need to go and get one back on the other end. And I think it's that kind of attitude that it makes the game end up being closer than perhaps you would have thought at halftime.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Zoe Miller was definitely, you could see, making a conscious effort on, if I'm not contributing on the offensive end, as sometimes I'm expected to do, she was diving for loose balls, making deflections, putting her body on the line. And that's a really great way that players have got to stay mentally in the game and try and keep any kind of intrusive thoughts or dwelling thoughts of missing shots at bay.
And Zoe's just such a massive big game player as well. I mean, Not ashamed to say I dropped a 2022 Newcastle reference into the call from because her late stage of the game was absolutely brilliant. She put up quick points. She was just everything Manly needed to be.
Yeah, I like how I said she had a quiet night, ends up with 19 points, leading scorer on the team. But you know, like I think there's players who can really come alive in the fourth quarter, like when their number is called, and I think that she showed that in this particular game.
Yeah, she did also almost have a double-double with the 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. So, yeah, definitely still did her absolute best. And all of those things like deflections, loose balls, hustle plays that aren't on the stat sheet definitely added to Manly coming back in the third. But it was a bit of a struggle for them on that comeback because there was a long period in the third quarter where they didn't score.
No. It was 6-0 for the quarter after about 4 minutes. And Manly were locking Bankstown down. And we got to the point where we were saying, like, we were apologizing for harping on about Manly trying to hit quick threes. But
I think one of the kind of like tough things is like you're down, so you want to try and get some quick points to try and close that gap, but also at the same time, like you do have to kind of run your offense. You do have to kind of use that shot clock, and I think that as a team, you've got to go, I can't rush this, even though time pressure is a factor. Actually getting through your offensive action in some way is going to set you up for a better shot.
And especially just going back to your point before, Jem, about making runs, how Bankstown, sure, the biggest run they had was only 9 points, but making those short runs that made a big difference in the end. This was Manly's opportunity to do that back to them. They made so many consecutive defensive stops in a row, and they could have just gotten stops and run layups because they're still arguably one of the quickest teams in the league, next to like someone like North, and especially when Sari Mowbray, Zoe Miller, even Bree Delaney, when they're penetrating without hesitation, like just get out of the way because you're either going to foul them or you're going to get run over because they are just so strong and tenacious when they're making a strong play. That this was their opportunity to get those stops and make those runs and just go lay up, or get to the free throw line. I think that would have really boosted them overall in the second half.
Yeah, you kind of want to make sure you're not living and dying by the 3-point line.
Yeah.
See, basketball cliches are cliches for the reason, and that is certainly one of them. But you know what was interesting as well? That it was 10, thanks to Jason Kadee as well for posting this on his Instagram. It was 10 years ago that the Bankstown Bruins men won what was it even called back then, Lockie? Waratah ABA?
No, it was Waratah Championship.
Waratah Championship. Well, the equivalent of NBL1 for back in the day. The Bankstown men won the championship 10 years ago, pretty much to the day, and on the exact same court as the Bankstown women won the championship on the weekend, which is kind of scary, but nicely serendipitous. And I don't think the women have won a championship. Was it since 2015, Lockie?
2015, they knocked off Sutherland at Sutherland. Team had Casey Samuels, Rohani Cox, I think Adrian Bywater in that team, the Hennessy's. We're going way back in the WNBL annals there.
Oh, yeah, that was Bankstown were always my least favorite team to play. I was always scared to play them.
That Sutherland team had, I think Liv White was on that, or Liv Douglas, I think, was on that team. Lauren Sparks was on that Sutherland team. Bankstown, and Norse were hot favourites coming into the. I remember that day like nothing else. I walked in. I had to work the Saturday, and I walked in just after the first semi-final finished, and the Norse players looked like their faces were going to melt off their skulls. They were hot favourites to win it all, and then Bankstown beat Sutherland in the granny.
Amazing. So yeah, history certainly made again on the weekend. But Jem, before we say goodbye to you, thanks again for joining us to share your review and perspectives on the NBL1 Women's Grand Final match, and also to officially introduce yourself to our NBL1 East community. So for those listening and watching online, please keep an eye out for Jem, whether that's comments or around the league. Or I imagine you'll be around for the WNBL season, Jem. Have you got your
I will be
Flames
around.
Tickets? Sorry,
Trust and believe.
Caps tickets.
Trust and believe, like Sydney, Canberra, I'm probably at the game.
But before that, we're going to have you this weekend at Waratah Finals.
Oh, yes, I will be there. I will be. I am on the mic at Waratah Finals this weekend.
You got Waratah Youth 2 Women, and you're with me for Waratah Women.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Congratulations on the call-up, Jem. It's going to be a really, really fun weekend. You're going to keep sharpening your tools as a commentator. Like, finals weekend is so fun. You're getting some more love on the Instagram line from Damien Clark. Keep repping those comments, Jem, he says.
Thanks, Damien.
But yeah, have you got any kind of final words about this game before we say goodbye? And then before you leave as well, please tell our listeners and our viewers online where they can find you on Instagram and on TikTok especially.
Yeah, I guess my kind of final thing about like the game is like my biggest takeaway from it was that the whole shape of a game has impact, like thinking about the things that happen in the first and the way that those flow on. And I think that's something that is really interesting to think about just from a storytelling perspective about the way that we view games and the stories that they create. And then, yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, both at Gems Hudson. That's where I can be found. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for coming on and being a guest. It was essentially very last minute, so we appreciate you jumping on and being all prepared. But yeah, please check out Jem on Instagram and TikTok. I used to follow you on TikTok, and then I just got overloaded with social media apps and had to delete a bunch of them. So that's why I'm not around anymore. So, but I'm sure your content is still pumping. But yeah, best of luck on the weekend commentating Waratah Finals. You'll meet a great bunch of people in our community, and yeah, it's going to be great. I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, I'm super excited too.
Lockie, you got any departing words of wisdom before we say goodbye to Jem?
No, we'll probably talk before Waratah Finals because I know Jem wants to pick my brain about the history of these Waratah women's teams, considering there is a lot of old Waratah Youth League experience in both these Waratah teams.
Yes, Waratah is a whole other thing. I personally don't have space in my brain for Waratah as much as I would like to stay up to date with it. Between NBL1 North, NBL1 East, and then WNBL and Opals, that's enough.
Yeah, I'm also super excited because there's going to be a couple of Canberra teams, and I'm always excited to see the Canberra Divas.
Mm-hmm. I got a soft spot for Canberra too. I spent some of my playing days down there, so I've always got a soft spot for them and keeping an eye out on what's up and coming. So yeah, be secretly supporting Canberra in spirit. Yes. But yeah, Jem, thanks again so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and we'll have to have you back for the 2027 season.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye, guys.
What an absolute delight, Lockie. You are very lucky to have Jem in the commentary booth next to you at Comets.
She is amazing. And it looks like we've got someone in the green room who's also been on the commentary booth at Comets this season.
Oh, yes. And I mean, which commentary booth has this guy not been in this season? He's been hustling. Hustling.
People joke about how many clubs I've commentated at. This guy's got me. He's looking at me in the rearview mirror.
I'm pretty sure he's probably punched his card at nearly every club by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is someone who is no stranger to Eastcott game at all. He's someone who has also followed NBL1 East for a particularly long time. He is now forging his own very stylish, very informative path in content creating, covering Waratah League with Waratah on VCR. It is James. Hello, my friend. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a long time, guys. I tell you what, I miss you both so much. And no matter how hard Lockie and I tried to get you to stay in New South Wales, just until you still have to get on the plane. But that's fair enough. It's just good that we can meet up again.
You're right. Look, listen, I did message Lockie after I left and said, I wish I stayed longer. I really, in hindsight, should have stayed for the whole day and just come back to Brisbane Monday morning instead of Sunday night. But that's okay.
The Sunday scaries were very real. It's like it's such a come down. Like normally Sundays are a bit of a come down, but especially after like those two grand finals. Then getting home on Sunday, all these thoughts running through your head from what happened, what this means for the clubs, nationals ahead, Waratah finals ahead, and then to get up on Monday and just sit at my desk and be like, all right, back to work. But luckily, as part of my job at the local newspaper for North Sydney, I got to write an article about the Bears winning the championship. So at least I got to get some of those thoughts out. And the Monday morning was still NBL1 East related, which I love when there's a little bit of a crossover. And my boss is probably getting sick of me pitching basketball stories. But come on, they won the championship, so that was pretty significant.
That should be front page news, no question.
Oh, it was, yeah. I definitely made sure I pinned it on the front page because, I don't know how much you know about other sports on the North Shore, but our rugby league team's pretty rubbish. Rugby union team's okay. The North Shore Bombers are pretty good, and I don't know about the cricket, but anyway, we're here to talk about basketball. But yeah, the Bears are definitely the shining. Oh, sorry, the Bears basketball are definitely the shining light on Sydney's North Shore.
Yeah, your rugby league team moved to Perth. I'm not sure if you've heard.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking at changing back to see West Tigers season tickets next year. Anyway, well, because I'll save it for another podcast. My thoughts about the Perth Bears, because I'm not particularly happy because I'm a local sports guy, and I think sports clubs are where they're based. That's the kind of important thing. So, yeah, I don't really get it. Anyway.
Respect that.
We were talking about the North Bears, who are based in the northern suburbs. The Bear Cave, which is actually in Crow's Nest.
And that's so good. I mean, it's one of the few local sports still in the area. Yeah, and what a weekend it was for the Bears. Especially, I mean, a lot of talking to a lot of the Bears fans. A little bit of heartbreak and shock still from last week's women's preliminary, but we'll skip over that. We'll just fast forward through that part. So there was a little bit of nervous energy before the game for the men's grand final. Seeing if the Bears could break their drought. Last time I think they won was 2017. And they've always had somewhat competitive squads from there, but definitely in the NBL1 East era, they've definitely paid second fiddle to the women's side, who have been one of the powerhouses. So definitely nervous energy before the game on Sunday.
Yeah, but they came through in the end. So obviously, now that we've got James as our next special guest, we will be reviewing the men's NBL1 East 2026 Grand Final between North Bears and Sutherland Sharks. I mean, arguably the two best people to talk about this game, given that you are in the North Shore, James, and Lockie, you are a Shark yourself. But James, what was some of the, I mean, apart from the history that you just recapped for the North Bears men's side in the competition, whether it was NBL1 East or otherwise, like what other things do you think were making you a little bit nervous coming into this grand final matchup?
Oh, it's the playoff Sharkies. Like, I recall back in 2023 when North Bears had Junior Maduit. It was Lewis Holey's first year back at the Bear Cave. The side was looking pretty good. Mike Golding was still playing, so the ultimate glue man. Younger Mikey Young, younger Robbie Moore, that kind of squad. And we thought, oh, here we go. The Sharkies, they're okay, aren't they? They didn't finish that high seeded. Maybe we'll get a win here and move on. And then the Sharkies came out and just blew the Bears apart on home court to advance through to the prelims, then eventually win the championship. And the team for the Sharkies this year they're very reminiscent. I'm sure Lockie can attest to that. It was starting to look a lot like 2023 all over again. Oh, and I was thinking, oh, this Sharks team, the Cabreras, the Hutchinsons of the world, they just go to another level. They somehow dig deep and they somehow find a way to just, I don't know, pull through when the times are tough. So I was like, you definitely can't discount this Sharkies side, although this North side is and showed that they were absolutely top quality, plenty of NBL players, but the Sharks side just have, I don't know, they just have a spirit about them that that's very good. By the way, I don't know. I guess I was a neutral fan on Sunday, but I don't know.
Turn it up. I was standing next to you.
And I was like, you were about as neutral as Lockie was neutral.
Yeah.
Hey,
and that's coming from someone who has a North jersey hanging.
No. Sorry to the Sharks, guys. I love you all, but yeah, I was definitely going for the Bears. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd hold that against you.
No, it's fine, James. I think. Yeah. I know. I kept telling him he's a Hornsby boy. That's all he needs to worry about is this weekend at Sutherland. But back to the game that actually has already happened. The thing that made me nervous for the Sharks was the same thing that made me nervous for the Bears, and it was the game at the end of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that for Sutherland, it was North could play that badly and Sutherland only beat them by 1. And then for North, it was we've played these guys and played that badly and lost to them before. And I know since then they played a qualifying final, which North played a lot better and got the win. But what happened in that last round of the regular season was just the one thing I could not stop thinking about was, North started the game 1 of 20 something from 3-point range. It finished 63-62. The thing was that Sutherland committed 19 turnovers in the last round of the regular season and won by a point, committed 12 in the qualifying final and lost by 15. And that was what made me kind of iffy about the Sharks. I was like, they played that badly. We only beat them by 1. We played better and they beat us by 15. The Sharkies, they were up early. They were flying early doors.
But even before we get right stuck into it, I'll ask Lockie, even the fact that the Sharks beat Illawarra Hawks to get there, did anyone, even for you, James, did either of you think, oh, okay, whoever beats Hawks is going to win the whole thing, have that confidence going into the final of Sharkies knocked off Hawks, they can beat anyone?
No, I didn't really. I think the top of this league is so close. I don't think... I know, Illawarra down there in the Snake Pit, that's massive to get a win against that Illawarra team. But we look at this every year. We look at the table and go, oh, there's these teams out there on top. And then you take a look back historically and you look, actually, it was actually pretty close at the top of the table. They weren't, the big teams aren't always really as far ahead as it looks, kind of thing. It came down to the final day of the final weekend of the season to even for Illawarra to even snatch top spot. So, it was great. And conversely, it didn't feel like the Sharks played their grand final in that game either. Sometimes you get a team gets a big win in a prelim and it's like, they burn all their matches. Grand final's going to come and they're going to be nothing. It all felt very, very close.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's get stuck into it then. You guys were probably paying a bit more attention to the game than I was before I left. I was already starting to mentally check out and glazing over. But from what I remember of this game, as to be expected, pretty fast pace. it was a little bit of a grind, as I think even Caleb was predicting before this game. It was just that bit of a grind where, for me, it was just a lot of up and back, a lot of one-on-one opportunities, a lot of like whoever's open is going to shoot it, or whoever feels like it is going to shoot it. There wasn't, for me, I couldn't really see a lot of structure or plan or execution of too many X's and O's necessarily from what I saw. But again, like I said, I wasn't paying as much attention to this one as I would have the women's game. James, what did you kind of see? What was your initial impression of the game?
Well, first of all, it was really physical to start off with, but you kind of expect that in a grand final, both sides looking to like come out and swing early on. I think the Sharks especially did a good job just choking down the paint. I think that was definitely their MO all game long, but I think they executed it really well in the first quarter. They knew the Bears would just want to pound. I mean, you look at their squad, it's built around three dominant bigs in Boff, Fabian, and Hunter Goodrick as well. So they knew we'll live with North shooting threes, but don't give them an inch of space in the paint. And I think they executed that really well in the first quarter. Norths were just jacking threes up. They were kind of daring them to shoot, almost the Sharkies, and Norths were falling for the trap. And I don't know, Norths looked a little shaky and a little nervous in that first quarter, trying to execute, trying to get those open shots, but the spacing was just a bit off. And look, this may apply for the rest of the game, but a part of me was thinking that, wait, where's the shooters on this team? They do have decent shooters, but I'm like, where are the shooters for this North squad? And I realized, oh wait, Bailey Hanson's not here, and he's I think one of the best shooters on this North team. He's a good spot up guy, can do it off the dribble as well, but also runs the point at times, which gets the offense going. So yeah, I think the Sharkies really did the scouting report well, and then on the other end were moving the ball quite well. But Lockie, what do you reckon about the Sharkies in the first quarter? I'll handball that one over to you.
I did want to talk about your three-pointers comment, because just how many players went over in this game with multiple shots for the Bears? Wacher 0 of 4, Krislovich 0 of 5, Boffinger 0 of 5, Mikey Young 0 of 2. That's slightly less, but only 3 guys actually hit threes for the Bears in this game, and to get them to 10 of 35. And apart from those 3 guys, it was actually pretty dismal, if we're being entirely honest. I mean, this entire game was really, it was built around Tyler Robertson. He was in everything for the Sharks. Again, three-point shooting wasn't great for either team. Sharkies 5 of 23. We know they love to be physical. I really wish they had Bailey MacArthur. He was so good last time. I think he really would have. I think he was missed. He was really missed. As we were saying,
final.
Yeah, we might have had our Jamison and our Walker, but we were all out of Baileys.
That was so good on the day. I loved it. You got to claim that one forever. I'm glad that it's now cemented in history on this recording and in the digital footprint. Just on the Instagram live, we've got Baby Chol tuning in. Love to see you popping up always, Baby Chol. And he wants to give a shout out to Jake Weinstein with 3 from 3 from the arc while you're talking about threes. And one of the commentators for this final, Hamish Salberg, 2 from 19 in the first half. Then Mr. Weinstein lit it up.
2 of 19, and they finished 10 of 35. And we will get to that because I think the second half 3-point shooting, and particularly one player in clutch moments, might be worth discussing. But the Sharkies, great battle physically. Hutch was being playoff Hutch. He finished with 6 steals. He was defensively a weapon. I'd love to see. Let me just check the analysis for the first half. Only 3 fast break points. And as we say, fast break points are so hard to come by in this league. They don't like to give them out too much. But I mean, great point, James. 10 points in the paint to 4. Spurge, Jamison. I can't believe Jamison only had 4 points. He had 7 rebounds. He only had 4 field goal attempts. Would have liked to see him be able to get downhill a bit more because we know he's got great speed for a big man coming from his AFL days. But the first quarter was where it all really happened for the Sharks. And going into the second, they're up 27-17 at one point until Norse kind of took it over there in the second quarter, which really broke things open. They actually took the lead into halftime, which I know Sharkies would have been very, very disappointed about considering the lead they had because you can't give this North side a sniff.
Nope.
No. Those Bears, they got a good sense of smell to the Bears.
James, your rebuttal?
My rebuttal, yeah, they did. The Bears did kick in a gear. Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Baby Chol and Hamish, for stealing my point. I did have Jacob Weinstein name highlighted. He's one of the quality shooters, and honestly, I thought maybe he could have done with a few more minutes. I mean, I was thinking that at the time. Obviously, after you see the result, doesn't matter what my coaching tips are, but. Also, I would be stupid to give Tom Gallup coaching tips because he put on a masterclass. But yeah, Weinstein, I think, brought great energy. If he wasn't getting shots off, was getting off good dribble penetration, spacing the floor out to open up those lanes for everyone. And I think we saw that a lot in the second quarter as well when Hunter Goodrick started to assert himself a little bit. I think. At times they just put Goodrick out there at the 5 and that kind of opened things up a little bit with Farbs on the bench, or they would rotate in or out and then space around Goodrick. Also Iggy Mitchell, I think, kind of started to step up in that second quarter. Was looking a little shaky at the start, but I think Iggy Mitchell got into his flow and he's one of the guys, Iggy Mitchell, I think, got to give him a shout out because he was part of that 2022 inaugural squad in the NBL1 East for the North Bears. It was a weird year, but we have time to get into it. It was the Pat Sanders year, which is great. Go check out the highlights. But Iggy Mitchell, a younger Iggy Mitchell, was part of that squad. And to think all those years on, him, Mikey, and Robbie are one of the few guys from that inaugural 2022 squad who are still around. Iggy, I think he's played in some really high-level teams all throughout his career. So I think he's really found a way to dominate around other dominant players. So being able to slash off ball, be able to play hard-nosed defense, and to be able to get out and run as well. And all this from a player who had injuries that almost looked like his career was going to be over like 2 years ago. So I know that's a bit of a side note from the game, but I just really did want to highlight Iggy Mitchell and what a special player he is and what a special story it is for him to get the championship.
Yeah, he did look like he took a bit to settle in. I think he was took him a bit to settle in because he was settling a bit for shots early on. Once he found his groove, he looked like a different player. 4 of 14 from the field, but I feel like those misses were kind of front-ended. I felt like he missed a few earlier. 3 of 10 from 3. It doesn't feel like that was how it transpired throughout the game. But he's more than his shooting stats, as you just outlined, James. I don't need to repeat your point. I thought he was excellent for the most part. You mentioned
Iggy with it.
Oh,
that's all right. That one's always in the back pocket. But I think we got to retire it, getting Iggy with it.
Retire it. What's going to be the replacement?
I don't know. We got to figure it out. But I think I don't know. Getting jiggy with it, that's 90s. I don't think we can keep using it.
Hey, there was a time last year at work. A friend of mine was doing the musical And Juliet, which is all of the Max Martin pop hits from the 90s. And then my colleague referred to that, because all those songs are 30 years old. And I said, no, they're only from the 1990s. And they're like, yeah, that was 30 years ago. And then I died. And then I died and I had to go home sick. Ridiculous. Anyway, sorry. But
it's like that. There's a meme text of I'm out. I just heard Green Day on the classic rock station.
That's it. I'm out of here. See you
Yeah, I'm
later.
done.
Nice to know you. Nice to know
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I want to get your opinions, though, guys, on Hunter Goodrick. So I really like how he plays. I traditionally really like textbook power forwards and centers, maybe because that's how my favorite positions to play when I was a player, despite my size. But something I noticed was really interesting is anytime he caught it in the post, or at least a catch from the post, the low post, I should say, defense would take a step back off him rather than playing him tight. And when they gave him that extra space, I felt like he kind of struggled to know what to do, how to make that into a scoring option. And he was very reluctant just to turn and front up with that extra space and just bank it off the backboard. Did you see something similar, or opinions on kind of that kind of technical aspect to his game?
Yeah, you don't want to get between Hunter Goodrick and the basket when he's getting in a back down situation. Like, he's such a good back down big, and I think you'll live with him facing up and shooting middies, which you can do. He's really good at them, adding a 3 to his game as well, which I think's really starting to come along. But being a Hunter Goodrick, there was, I honestly can't remember. There was definitely one in the first half and one in the second, or two. Anyway, I can't remember, but he got called for 2 charges, potentially even 3, in that game. And that was facing up and going into bodies with a bit of a run up. So I think maybe the Sharkies were trying to maybe bait him in to getting in and having a bit of a run up into contact, as opposed to just being able to catch it. And sorry, I know the screen's too small. She can't show it here, but
catch off the post moves.
Yeah, I can't. I'm a utility nowadays. Everyone grew taller than me. But yeah, you don't want to get in a one-on-one battle with Hunter Goodrick, like backing you down, because he'll just take you to the spot, pump fake the crap out of you. Pump fake the hell out of you, and get to where he needs to go and maybe draw a foul. So I think the face up call was a good one, Squid. That was definitely a decent choice from the Sharkies. Yeah,
I mean, how good he looks when he's backing people down. It exacerbates how he looks when people are not trying to contact him. It just shows, it shows it a lot more. So it's a lot more obvious when you see him not taking contact. And I mean, you think who the Sharks head coach is? Sean Roger. Probably knows Hunter Goodrick pretty well at this stage.
Yeah, I thought that was a really smart defensive move. It almost sometimes, Hunter would get it where he wanted. He'd kind of front up or half front up, and then just kind of get stuck, like, what to do next. And sometimes the ball was stuck in his hand a little bit too long, and then that would have the flow-on effect of making the rest of the offense either stagnant or slowed down as well. So it's really interesting just how something as small as that on the defensive end can have this flow-on effect of being disruptive for your opposition's offense. So, yeah, I thought that was a really, really nice move there from the Sharkies, putting that in.
Yeah, and I think the Sharks knew as well they could play a lot of help defense off ball, because Norths weren't knocking down their shots, at least in the first half. They knew they could sag off a little bit on shooters and play that help defense. So, good execution of the plan.
And then rolling around, so first half I saw most of. Second half, what did I miss? Were there any dramatic changes in style of play? Were there other players stepping up? Were there other players out of the game? What did you see from the second half, James?
Oh, it was a slog. It was a slog that third quarter. It was. I don't know. I feel like I blacked out halfway through. I was just like, "Is who wants it?" I kept saying, "I was like, no one wants it. Neither does this team want it."
I'm pretty sure during the third quarter, I said, if this wasn't a grand final, people would be switching off. It was getting really scrappy. It was knock them down, drag them out. I mean, it was a 14-17 third quarter, but it didn't even feel that high scoring at times.
Yeah, I mean, to give both teams credit, they're playing great defense. So
they were playing great defense.
They're playing great defense. Not one for the highlight makers out there, But yeah, it really did get into a bit of a grit and grind game. But of course, that does favour North's style of play. I think the Sharks are at their best when they're playing a kind of like free-flowing offense, getting a lot of ball movement, inside, outside kind of stuff. But again, North are just happy to play the muscle game, and I think that's what gave them the edge in the third quarter. So if I sound like a broken record, but again, when you have the players that North have, use your size advantage, use your physicality.
I think that's borne out probably in Harrison Rayner's stats. You know, you see someone who can really benefit from when Sullivan get the ball moving. You know, I'll say it again, 50% from three-point land for the season. You know, he only had one field goal attempt in 21 minutes of playing time. That's not really something you'd expect from a player like Harrison. You usually get more opportunities than that. And really, it was 4 bench points to 27 for the game. 16 from Goodrick, 9 from Weinstein, and 2 from Mikey Gilligan. Sutherland's only 2 baskets off the bench came from Abbott and Rayner, 1 apiece. Both shooting 1 of 1, though.
Oh, yeah, and I didn't give you guys... Sorry, I didn't give you guys the update. I have sent an email through to BNSW requesting a refund for no Jimmy Hunter action in all of the grand final. They haven't got back to me yet. And look, fair enough if you don't want to give me a refund for the ticket, but I was baffled at the end. We didn't at least get 5 seconds of Jimmy Hunter. I mean, come on, it's what the people came for.
Oh, give the people what they want, Jimmy Hunter. What a guy. We want to see him.
You know, he's been in all bar 1 grand final. That's something James Hunter and I both have in common. 4 grand finals in 5 years.
That's right. You both need to recreate that Michael Jordan photo you referenced an episode or so ago.
With the cigar.
If you could do it together, that would be great.
Yeah. And on a serious note as well, sorry to interrupt, but on a serious note as well, I think maybe some Jimmy Hunter minutes may have kicked the Sharks offense into gear. I remember commentating early this year with Lockie down at the Shark Tank when they played on the Spiders, and I noticed Jimmy Hunter does a lot of dribble handoff action, a lot of high posts, playmaking, obviously can get down to the low post and get a few buckets. He's a great playmaker as a big, which I think is an underrated part of his game. So maybe some minutes from him could have opened up the offense a little bit for the Sharks, but I'm just a pundit though. Like, don't quote me on that. It's just what I saw, and maybe I'm biased for Jimmy Hunter. He's one of our favorite players, but I think maybe that could have helped just a little bit with the offense from that second unit.
It's not a bad point, to be honest. Like, we all know what he's capable of. There's a reason why he's been in these championship teams. You know, like he was a big part of Maitland, especially getting to those championship games and those finals. And it's not a bad shout, James. Honestly, sometimes when you keep trying the same thing over and over, expecting a different result and not getting it, you need to go. That's why the bench is there. You need to go to the bench. You need to find something else. Who's going to get the job done? Who's going to create a spark? Who's going to be a bit of a circuit breaker to get something different going? That's why your bench is there. I mean, we were talking earlier about how we were so impressed with Lauren Curtin's coaching decisions in the Bankstown Bruins win that she put Rachel Dunlop out in the last 5 minutes to help win the game instead of an import in Davida Dale. And because she knew exactly what piece she needed, she knew that Rachel could do it, and Rachel Dunlop did it. Like, she was able to score. She stepped up when a number was called. And Lockie then made a really good point that sometimes coaches need to put the players out there who's going to execute your game plan, not just playing coaches because, this one's an import, this one expects this many minutes, whatever. You just got to put players out there that gets the job done. But Hamish is still on the Instagram live. Love you, Hamish. Big shout out to you. He mentioned something about Tyler Robertson's ankle injury.
Yeah,
I noticed that. Actually, Lockie Beavers said that on the call. Like, I think he hit a shot and then was backpedaling and was then down on his haunches. Okay, I definitely can't display that on the small screen, but he's down on his haunches, and Lockie B, that is, said, yeah, he's coming up a bit gingerly there. So what do we think happened?
No idea.
don't actually know, but yeah, he definitely was. Yeah,
sorry.
People did mention it after the game to me. 29 points on one leg kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, it is something worth mentioning. But I mean, the guy, he put up 29 points in any event in a game like that. I think 11 of 23, 4 of 11 from 3-point range. I mean, it's one of those things we'll just never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, and maybe it's been a little tweak or something like that, even just a roll. I mean, I did my knee yesterday in social basketball, like doing a bounce pass, and I went way too hard, jumping, like putting pressure onto the front knee, and I just went, like when it's not a break, it's not a snap, it's not anything, but your knee just goes like, no, thank you.
James, that's called being old.
It's not if I don't believe it still, but and it was not a pass as well, not even going up for a wicked dunk, which I normally do. But sometimes the injuries just come in like in minor moments. But yeah, I mean, for Tyler Robinson, he still went out there and got buckets. And I got to say, like, I've seen him play live twice now. He's got the purest jump shot I think I've ever seen.
It is. It's just like he'll just walk up. Just when he walks up in transition, just goes up. It just feels like it's going down every time. Even if he's in a shooting slump, it just feels like this is going to be the shot that breaks him out of it every time.
Really smooth, quick release kind of thing, like straight from the pocket, straight from his pocket up into his shooting action. And sometimes I notice as well, because he is on the shorter side for a guard, he also has to create space by having to lean back a little bit, like a Shane Heal type of shot. Not so much over the head though, but just being able to fade away just a little bit. But it's a bit of a bummer that it got so scrappy in the end with this team. And like, to be fair, I think Caleb, before the game started, was expecting a little bit of scrap. It did get a little bit chippy. Even in that first half, there was a bit of chat here and there. Something that I found interesting, and I genuinely mean this when I say this is no shade, but Chris Levitt being named MVP in a game like that, but based on what you described, it would have been hard to pick an MVP if it was so scrappy and there wasn't any kind of true narratives or heroes or anything in this particular game. I mean, Robertson ended the game with 29 and 11, but on the losing side, never going to get an MVP, right? But the top scorer for North was actually Wani Swakala-Bullock with 18 points. He went 4 from 6 from the arc. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal in just under 30 minutes of play. Chris Levitt had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was 2 from 9 from the field overall. And it gets MVP. What do you think was some of the X factor that helped him be named MVP for this game? If any.
Decoy of the game?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I'm just going to declare a vested interest here and probably sub out of this conversation because Farbs can do no wrong in my books.
We know that.
I think it's best player Australia's ever produced. But no, look, just based on the vibe tests, based on Marbo, the last stretch there, those last 5 minutes of the game, and don't worry, fans, we will get and talk about Wani Swakala-Bullock in that fourth quarter in just a moment, but. Yeah, Farbs, I think, inhaling every rebound in those last 5 minutes, those 2 huge blocks, LeBron James style-esque blocks, to secure the championship. And also did a little ball handling in those crunch time minutes as well, which I think, again, it might not come up on the stats, but I just think that leadership he showed, especially in crunch time and defensively as well. I don't know. Look, I think if anyone else could have got it, it may have been Wani, but I think Farbs just on the vibes test, and the intangible things, I think should get it and have his jersey retired everywhere he's played, in my opinion.
I mean, he was extremely noticeable out there for a player who finished with only 8 points. Yeah, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and the 2 blocks were both massive moments. And he was just noticeable at both ends. Look, Tyler Robertson could have done a Bradley Clyde Churchill medal 1993, get it on the losing side. But, I mean, it's very rare that a player on the losing side ever. I mean, it's happened 4 times in the history of rugby league, and I don't know that it's ever happened. I mean, if I didn't give Ruby Perkins the 3 votes in last year's Youth League Women's Grand Final, I don't think anyone's ever getting the 3 votes in a losing side in the Grand Final. It just doesn't happen.
No, especially in basketball.
Yeah. I mean, Woodrick 16 and 9.
I don't know. I mean, he famously did it, but I think unofficially / officially it was David Hickey's grand final MVP. But anyway, we'll get into that. That was a class move by Delhi, none the less. And yeah, but sorry, Lockie, sorry to interrupt, but
that's a good reference though, James. I did forget about that. That only happened 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm all kind of brought up the point because when I saw the post on Instagram, Krislovic named finals MVP and they put his stat line, I was like, there'll be a lot of people questioning that without having to see the game. So that's why I asked for your insights in what else did he bring to warrant an MVP vote that isn't on the stat sheet. And I think the way you described it is, like you said, his leadership skills, the fact that he had such a presence at both ends of the court, which you can't measure, right? You can't measure that in any way other than having to watch the game or be part of the game in some way. And so he just sounded like a true anchor for North at both ends of the floor, but also just being able to, his presence was just enough to kind of keep the Sharks at arm's length. And that really is MVP stuff. Like, you can't teach that. That's just him as a guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't coach that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, players have to want to come out and do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's the V in the whole thing. It's the value you bring to a team, and that doesn't necessarily have to come through numbers. And I don't know. Look, this may be a rant for a longer podcast, but I'm kind of against the whole stats obsession. I think it's something that in basketball we need to calm down on a little bit, because I don't know. Anyone can put up big numbers, but you can score 40 and still lose a game. You can put up incredible eye-watering numbers, but you can be incredibly selfish at the same time. I think as a basketball community around the world, and we're starting it here on East Got Game, and I think we need to just relax a little bit on putting too much credence on the stats. And I don't know. I was just thinking about this earlier in the year with Waratah League games and Youth League games where you've only got the scoring stats in there and they don't have shooting percentages, rebounds, this kind of stuff. Sometimes it takes you to actually watch the game and you're like, oh, this person put up like 30 points, but then you watch the game tape and they completely killed the offense, for example. So I think, I think we got to maybe take stats and numbers with a grain of salt sometimes. But yeah, definitely in the eye test, Farbs was the MVP, the grand final MVP. Well, either way, it's in the books now, so you can't change it.
Yeah, well, he is the grand final MVP. There's no taking that away. I mean, like, look, there's plenty of players that had a case, and I don't mean after the game, because I'm sure they all went back and celebrated quite well. But I mean, yeah, plenty of players had a case for MVP, but I mean, it's not the egregious decision that it looks like when you just look at the 8 and 10 because of everything that we've just discussed.
Yeah, I think that was important. Really important insights and context you both brought to why Krislovic was named MVP. And listen, is there any word on the ground if North are going to be taking their full squad to Adelaide this weekend?
Don't think so.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, if you can share, you don't have to reveal sources, but is that?
I don't remember who told me.
Oh no. Well, with that,
I think it's in general, like it's just getting too close to NBL season as it is every year with the national finals, which could give the Gunners the inside track again.
Ooh, yeah. Is Brenda Beacon going to be back?
Don't know about that.
No,
maybe
that's okay.
That's the intel we need. But look, I think regardless though, I know. Sorry, just to wrap the game up just a little bit. I know Wani Cyclebook came up big time in that final quarter. Some massive 3-pointers, even banking in a few, some huge field goals, and just really stepped up big time. Wani Cyclebook. So just want to make sure we do highlight him because to be honest, it was pretty quiet through the first 3 quarters. Obviously playing great defense, got a couple nifty baskets here and there, but the way he played there at the end was incredible.
Yeah, that was exactly who I was alluding to when I was talking about the fourth quarter and the 3-point shooting late on was Wani coming up massive down the stretch for them.
And if I can just say though, I mean, hey, even if they don't have the full squad going to nationals, and this might be a little tangential when it comes to the MVP thing, there's players on the bench that got DNPs in this game. I do want to just give a little shout out to players like Robbie Moore, Lewis Holy, Pietro Badalassi, the captain, did the captain's speech at the end without playing a minute. But guys like that, I think especially Lewis Holy and Badalassi are like the real leaders of this squad. And they maybe didn't play in the grand final, but what they mean to the culture that Norths have developed and the winning style that they play, a lot of that comes down to players like Lewis Hole and Petro Badass. And shout out to Ben Gill as well, Norths Junior getting a championship. So hopefully maybe at nationals we'll see a bit of Lewis time. I know the crowd was chanting "We want Holy" at the end. Maybe Pietro Badalassi will get some minutes at nationals. They've got plenty of depth on this north side, so maybe even if some of the NBL guys aren't there, there's still a really quality squad.
I think it's a really good point as well, because especially players like Robbie Moore, Lewis Holy, Mikey Young, we say they make, this North team doesn't win a championship without them, not just because they make up the bench of this 2026 side, but like you said before, they've been in this program since the very, very start. They had to start the program. They had to keep it competitive and sustainable. And without players like that keeping this team together, as competitive as they have been over the years, there is no 2026 championship. So they have had to, they have sown the seeds of this championship over the years. So I think it's a really, really good shout out.
Yeah, that was huge. Sorry, I mean, I know I can't go on about Lewis Holy. I could go on about Lewis Holy or not, but really, that's that season where he returned to the Bear Cave. It was one of the first of those the whole bunch of Norths players who'd gone off to college who came back. It was one of the first to actually start that trend, and I think he actually almost single-handedly turned the culture around for the side. And then the next part of that, I would say, was getting Tom Gallup to return in more of a hands-on role at the club as the NBL1 men's head coach. Of course, we know what he did with the women's sides in the late 2010s, early 2020s, getting 2 championships. But to get him back into the fold at Norths and to help recruit all these great Norths juniors back to the club, and not just that, but get them playing a great brand of basketball. I don't think you can underestimate the impact Tom Gallup had on this championship. And I was so worried for his health all game long. He looked stressed. So I'm just...
He was like the vein popping meme kid.
Yeah, I think his vein exploded in the first quarter. So I'm really happy for Tom because if maybe the result didn't go their way, it would have been miserable. But yeah, I mean, big shout out to Tom for taking the championship home and raising another banner at the Bear Cave. He's was a player in that 2014 championship squad with the men. Of course, had those 2 championships with coaching the women's side. And now has got a men's title under his belt, and was just doing a little bit of research before this. There's only one other person who did this. I'll put this up in the Waratah and VCR story, Nate Kerwin's the only other player who's won only other person who's won as a coach for the men's and the women's, and then one as a player as well. I think Nate got a couple championships with Manly in like 2010. That kind of, I'm not very good with years. Obviously got the NBL1 East Championship as the women's coach last season, and then helped Manly to those Waratah championships in the last few years of Waratah. So shout out to Nat Kerwin as well. Tom Gallup's just joined him as one of the few players who has those 3 categories ticked. So an amazing feat.
So what you're saying now is that Tom Gallup has to start playing Masters League and put up ridiculous scoring numbers.
Yes. Yeah, let's get it. Tom, I know Tom still works out, so he'd probably be good for it. And yeah, I forgot to mention that I just saw Nate Kerwin a Masters champion as well with Manly Warringah. So yeah, Tom, I mean the challenge is out there.
Born 86, so he's eligible as of this year.
Right. Well, looks like we're gonna have to keep Eastcott game going in the off season to keep on top of the Masters League as well.
I will give you a bit of intel. No, I'll just give you some intel going back to your worries about Tom Gallup and his health during coaching. He was wearing a scarf under that jacket, so he was getting a little bit too hot, literally hot and bothered under the collar. But he couldn't take the scarf off because it was something he had apparently worn all season. So he had to kind of stick with the superstition. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of.
I guess that was for the vocal warm. Don't lose your voice, because I know Tom.
Maybe that's why. That's that may be a good reason why actually he did have the scarf on as well. To protect his vocal cords as well. So who knows.
Yeah, so that's massive for Tom, and yeah, finally he can go home to Renee and say, "I've got an NBL1 championship too now." So now we're even.
Oh gosh, I mean, they would need a whole other room in their house just for their accolades between them. Really impressive. Arguably the most successful basketball couple in Australia ever. More so than Tom Meyer and Robin Meyer, I reckon. We're making some hot takes here.
Oh, geez. That is spicy, Squid.
I just think if you look at championships and just winningness, I reckon they would probably be the most successful. But having said that, if you compare them, say, to Tom Meyer and Robin Meyer wouldn't probably have similar opportunities to what Renee and Tom have had in terms of coaching NBL1, coaching Australian junior teams, that kind of stuff. So pound for pound, pretty close. Another hot take, though, that I think the 3 of us also individually came to the same conclusion. Pietro Badalassi, probably the only NBL1 East player to now go to nationals representing 2 different clubs.
Yeah. I assume so. I mean, and I'm sure if Norths get knocked out, I mean, Canberra might just be like, "Hey, you want to chuck a Canberra jersey back on? Come on." I'm sure they can make an exception. He can play both.
Yeah. just put on the same headband, different jersey, same.
Yeah, but I think you're right with that one, Squin. Yeah. Oh no, you're never wrong. Sorry. So yeah, you're right.
I have definitely been wrong. I've definitely been wrong before. But yeah, any other final thoughts for this game, lads, before we wrap up and say goodbye to James?
I don't want to talk about this game anymore.
Oh, you sound like our mate Jacob when we were covering.
Oh yeah, skip this segment.
Finals. Yeah, skip this segment when we were talking about when Maitland lost. Bless. We got some lovely feedback again on the Instagram Live, courtesy again of Damien Clark. He says, "Love your analysis, James. It's almost as impressive as the moustache. Always a pleasure when you're around the games."
Thank you, and big shout out to Damien as well. That credits video he did for the Sydney Comets to end the year. that got me. That was the creativity, the style, everything about that. I love kind of, as you can tell with Waratah and VCR, fusing kind of pop culture and references and aesthetics from outside of basketball with basketball. I love it. So Damien, I appreciate that one, and we will get a coffee or a beer or a seltzer or whatever soon. But yeah, shout out to Damien and all the great work he's done this year. And I do remember watching the replay of the grand final, and so I think Lockie and Hamish crowned Adrian Cabrera as the best mustache in the East. So I'm gonna give it to him. I can't disagree with that. But just while
do we need a separate player and commentator categories for these things?
Yeah, on court and off court.
On court and off court.
We do. The Stash 5 at the end of the year. I'd love to see it. But if I can just get on my soapbox just for one more, I swear, sorry. It's just this North Championship was quite big. There is a few people behind the scenes at North who I do want to give a shout out to. Founding father Doug Golding. He's been there since day one for the North Bears. Helped to change Rooftop from an outdoor venue to an indoor venue. Helped to found the club, and he was actually up until now, up until this season, he was the manager for the NBL1 men's team. Doug Golding. Of course, father of Mike. And a big shout out to Doug and the dedication he has for North. He's really inspirational. And I think every club needs a guy like Doug Golding. He was there courtside for the grand final. So I'm tearing up a little bit when they won. But yeah, I think without the work he did back in the 80s to set this club up, the championship would have been possible. And you'll still go in on Sundays and see him doing court supervising for junior reps. So a big shout out to Doug Golding. He's an incredible guy. He's very friendly. He didn't even make me feel bad about jumping over to spiders, but I did feel a bit sad having to leave Doug at the bear cave. And there's just a few more people. Rachel Wu as well, who's I think been working in like a managerial kind of accounts for North. She's really held the club together year in, year out, especially financially, through some good times, bad times. So big shout out to Rachel Wu and to former CEO Graham Reed, who's also a life member. And Graham was the CEO when the NBL1 program got started. He's a life member. He's still refs midweek comps as well. So yeah, there's a lot of people behind the scenes at North who, through their hard work, countless hours of effort and energy, have helped to make not just this championship happen, but previous championships as well, and to make North one of the most successful clubs in New South Wales. So I'll get off my soapbox here, but there's a lot of special people behind the scenes who hold a special place in my heart, who I just wanted to take a moment to thank and to give credit to.
I'm always here for Graham Reed shout outs, because Graham actually gave me, when Princeton toured Australia and they played Norths and they did the souvenir T-shirts for the players to get, Graham hooked me up with one of the spares. So I've got a North v Princeton T-shirt that by rights I really should not have.
See, Graham, he's a man of the people. And yeah, geez, what a good guy. Of course he would. Of course he'd do that.
That's a good get as well, Lockie. Very good get. But yeah, James, thanks again for joining us. Again, similar to Jem, very last minute and being prepared to jump on to talk about the men's final. Again, always a pleasure to have you on. And congratulations for Waratah on VCR this year. It was it's only been around this season, right? And it's just gone absolutely gangbusters. Quality in terms of the presentation of your content and the information of your content is exceptional. So super proud for you to put that together, and your hard work certainly paying off.
No, thank you. And thank you for having me on multiple times on East Got Game. Again, going from a fan to a guest is a dream come true. And all I can say, if anyone does want to thank me for doing Waratah and VCR, get out to the Waratah finals this weekend. If you're not there, I'm going to expect a written note or a email saying why you weren't there, because I will find you. I will come find you as well, and you'll have to do some up and backs or do some bad drills. Okay, do some burpees, these kind of things, because it's going to be a great weekend out down at Sutherland. And if you can't make it, again, you will need an excuse, but you can tune in on YouTube and get out there and support your clubs, especially the Spiders, who are in the Waratah Women's Grand Finals. So Luckily, won't be commentating that one. Lockie's on that one, but I will be in the grandstands. Try not to lose my voice because I got to do the Waratah men's afterwards. But yeah, you got to get out to the Waratah finals this weekend.
James, make sure you get there nice and early on Saturday. You got to stop off at Sutherland Farmers Markets for a bacon and egg roll beforehand.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Oh, that's true. That's the pilgrimage prescribed by the prophet of Sutherland himself. Yeah, no, I definitely will. I will have to get there early, but I think you'll see afterwards that we'll be doing a little more than commentary this weekend. So I'm excited to be there the whole day doing a few different things for BNSW. But you'll see that next week. But thanks, guys, and thank you both for all the work you do. You've been a huge inspiration for me the whole time. Been doing 2 Feet in the Paint and then Waratah and VCR as well. It's a very kind of little niche community, but every Wednesday morning I get up, I put on East Got Game, I listen to it on my way to work, and yeah, it makes me feel part of the bigger world of basketball in New South Wales, and I love your dedication throughout the years. I know how hard it is to do this week in, week out, so I just want to say thank you both, and thank you for your support over the years, and we'll lock you in for another season next season. Sounds good. All right, that's good. That's a yes. Okay.
Well, we don't have a choice now, but yeah, thanks for always having our back as well, James, and making the NBL1 East community such a good place, and for supporting us and supporting others. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend commentating Waratah finals. Massive weekend ahead for you. Hopefully you've taken Monday and or Tuesday off work next week to recover.
Or no, I've used all my league this year on basketball and University Basketball League commentary. I also tune into the UBL to start it as well, but I don't have time to plug it. But hey, just get around your UBL sides.
All right. Thanks, Heath, brother. We'll see you again soon.
Peace out, James.
Thanks again.
See you soon.
What a guy. Gosh, he's all over this league. Yeah, can't give him enough credit for Waratah on VCR and always having our backs here at EGG. But just before we wrap up, Lockie, we do have actually, before we get into NBL1 Nationals, speaking of people like Damien Clark, we if anything is certain in this world after the NBL1 East Grand Final is that we have the best photographers, content creators, videographers, creatives in the country of any conference. We got to give a shout out to Damien Clark, who was there on the day putting all of that film together. Floyd Mallon making absolute cinema as well of the day. Rob Schatz was on ground. James O'Donoghue was on ground. There's also another couple of other photographers. Kai, is it Santa Rosa?
Yep.
He was there. We also had, is it Jake from Manly? Is it not Sherrington?
Shervington.
Jake Shervington was there. And there's also one other photographer. I can't remember her name though, so I'm gonna lean on you.
I didn't even see everyone. You've went off names of people I didn't even see there now.
Okay. There was definitely a female photographer there, and I do apologize for not remembering their name. I do follow them on the gram, so we'll try and find them. But there's no argument. We have the best photographers, creatives, videographers in the country. In
100%. Floyd Mallon got me tearing up watching that video with the fleet with Go Your Own Way on it. My goodness. He smashed it, and it's so good. Like, I know, like, we don't commentate for, to be the story. We tell the story. We don't try to be the story. But honestly, having that highlight video with the commentary on it is just, I love it. I love, like, that, we're just, locked in there forever, part of the archive. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, Damien Clark, shout out again. He says we definitely have the best in the East. There's absolutely no doubt. So dedicated as well are our creatives in NBL1 East compared to other conferences. Other conferences do have great creative types as well, certainly. but we definitely have the best. So big shout out to them for another fantastic year, led by Caleb Fogarty, of course. But yeah, just appreciate all the stuff that they do also week in, week out to promote NBL1 East, especially promoting our players and how good of a league that we know that it is. So keen to see more of that in 2027. But I'm hoping that we see some of those creatives this weekend in Adelaide for NBL1 Nationals, because the draw has been finalised and it tips off this Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock with none other than the North Bears and the Frankston Blues.
Just like the inaugural NBL1 National Finals, the East champions against Frankston.
Correct. Yeah, when the Gunners had to turned up against Frankston, who were the wild card entry that year. But
and
yeah,
your Gunners almost got up in that one.
They did. They sure did. And that inaugural year, people were just kind of counting out East, and yeah, Gunners really did us proud representing the East at that tournament. So yeah, North Bears men and Frankston men are first up. Then they've got Bankstown women and the Warwick Senators are also on Friday, 6:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Remember that Adelaide is half an hour behind. You can take that literally or as a joke if you like, because that is one of the common Adelaide jokes when I lived there, was that Adelaide half an hour behind, or if someone's slow in a conversation, you call them Adelaide because they're half an hour behind. Maybe showing my age there as well with that joke.
I think it's timeless.
Timeless. Then the Canberra Gunners men up against the Rockingham Flames from NBL1 West to finish out Friday at 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time as well. So yeah, you can go to the NBL1 website. It's got obviously the draw for Friday, and it's got the format of how the competition's going to work and how we determine who makes the grand final.
Should be a great week with Squin on the call. Hopefully you get some East games. I know you're officially there you're listed as a North rep, but surely you're going to get the hook. I mean, they do the 3-person crew minimum for every game, so share the love. Although big crew this year, 13 commentators.
Big crew.
6 from Central, 4 from South. So yeah, big crew.
Very big crew, yeah. And to be fair to the Central commentators, they usually only have one at every other NBL1 Nationals, so they're loading up this season. Some games on Friday, we're actually going to have 5 on the broadcast. We'll have 3 in the commentary box and a sideline each, which is what we started in 2024 just for the grand final. So I'm pretty sure that I've got both NBL1 North games for Friday, because other games also include Waverley Falcons and the Mackay Meteorettes. So I've got that game. The Knox Raiders play the Sturt Sabres in the women's competition as well. And I should say, actually, the final game for the competition on the weekend is Forestville Eagles and Gold Coast Rollers. So I'm on the mic for the North games, and I'm sure I'll be able to do some East games while I'm there, given that I'm bilingual in conferences.
You just dropping Forestville, and you're going to not mention the most important part about Forestville?
What, did they play Eagle Rock when they win a home game?
Why do you know so much about Forestville, Squin?
That's that one time that I played at Forestville, which is really funny because when we went to Nationals last year in Canberra, that was the first time I'd returned to Tuggeranong Stadium since I left Canberra and finished playing for the Caps in 2008. And now this time going back to Adelaide and to Wayville will be the first time for me going back to Adelaide and Wayville since I finished basketball the first time in 2009 after I played for Forestville. So it's just all swings and roundabouts, this basketball world.
And James, who is still in the studio, and I don't know what he's making for dinner, but he just dropped in the chat because I wasn't even thinking about club-specific people, but the woman who was taking photos that you saw would have been Lara Sullivan from the Sharks. Who is an amazing human.
Thank you. Good assist. Thank you very kindly, James, for that assist, because I did feel really bad. I'd forgotten her name. But yeah, that is is making eggplant lasagna.
Nice.
Well, listen, that's making me hungry, the thought of eggplant lasagna. So all the more reason we should probably wrap up this episode. But like we said, another fantastic NBL1 East season. In the NBL1 Nationals tips off in Adelaide this Friday. Should we come? Let's see if we come back again next Tuesday and really wrap it up, Lockie. We've got a week to decide.
Let's see. It's a big weekend for both of us this weekend, but let's see how we go.
Correct. But what is our parting words of wisdom, regardless any time of the season?
Look, fam, I know we're tired, but there's 1 week to go, so just don't sleep on the East.
Absolutely not.